redness, masses, lesions? Do you have any problems with soreness or anything in your arms or shoulders?
No.
Okay. I'm also looking for inspection. I'm sorry, I'm also looking for symmetry, and I'm just going to inspect along the back. And I do see that you have just these little red dots on your upper arm, and you had mentioned earlier you have discussed that with your physician as well. Okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to palpate your clavicle and your shoulders and your arms for any tenderness or swelling or pain or even heat. Okay. So I'm just going to palpate. You let me know, do you have any swelling or tenderness here?
No.
Okay. Well, I don't see any swelling, so but any tenderness. Sorry, the hair. Any tenderness in the shoulders anywhere?
No.
Okay. And just feel all the way down the arms. Any tenderness?
No.
Throughout here? Okay, great. And we'll get into more detail with the hands as we go. Okay, I'm going to palpate on the back side of the shoulders and the joints, as well as the shoulder blades, and you just let me know if you have any sore spots, any tenderness. Get a little massage here. any sore spots throughout there? I'm not feeling any masses or any lumps or bumps or anything along those lines, so that's really good. Okay, so that looks great. Okay, so now I want to test your range of motion for your shoulders and your arms. So what I'd like you to do is raise your arms straight out to the front. Okay, good. And now I'd like you to raise your arms backward as far back as you can go. Oh, wow, you can go really, that's great. Okay. Now I'd like you to raise your arms to the sides. Raise your arms out to your sides. Okay, perfect. And touch your hands up above your head. Okay, wonderful. That's good symmetry in doing all of that. Now, what I'd like you to do is bring your arms up and touch your hands behind your head. Bring your arms up. Perfect. Okay, and now if you could bring your hands down, touch your hands together behind your back. Okay, wonderful. Okay, and now I would like to do this with a little bit of resistance. So if you could bring your arms up to the front once again. And I don't let me push your arms down. Keep them up. Okay, great. And now out to the sides. And keep your arms up. Okay, wonderful. We can hold that for a while and get a really good workout there. Okay, wonderful. So you did really great with resistance there. You have good resistance strength. So that's really good. Okay, so I want to inspect your elbows now. I just want to take a look here and see, do you have any issues with your elbows? Any pain? Any trouble moving? Any like tennis elbow or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Your elbows do look really, really good. So I've inspected your elbows, I've palpated your elbows, and now what I want to do is test your strength. So I would like to test the flexion part of your elbows. So I want you to go ahead and extend your arm out as much, and now bring it into you. And that's the flexion. Okay, take it back out. And you can put it down, and let's see the other one. Bring that in and bring it out. I heard a little click there.
A little click.
Okay, bring this arm up. We're gonna do that again with some resistance. So go ahead and flex in. Go ahead and flex in and pull against me. Okay, and now I want you to push against my hand. Okay, great, perfect. Now let's do that with this one. Flex in and pull against me. And now push. Okay, perfect. Okay, great strength, very strong. Okay, what I'd also like to do is have you, well, you already flexed. I want you to bring your hand all the way to your shoulder and do that with your other arm now. Okay, and put those down. And now bring your hands up with your palms facing the ceiling. Bring your arms all the way up with your palms facing the ceiling. And now hold them straight out in front of you, and then turn your palms facing to the floor. Okay, perfect. All right. So your elbows are functioning very well. So now what I'd like to do is inspect your wrists. So if you could hold your hands out for me. So I want to inspect your wrists for symmetry, and I'm also going to palpate just to see if we have any any nodules or anything along those lines. All right, so your wrists look really good. I could see these good healthy veins here. Your wrists are symmetrical, nice tiny little wrists. I just want to make sure I'm covering everything here. So this is an area here called the anatomic snuff box. Is there any tenderness in there?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna try that over here. Any tenderness in there in that little hollow area? Okay, great, perfect. All right, and now what I'd like to do is we're gonna go through the range of motion for your hands and the strength. So, okay, so let's have you put your hands down and take them all the way back up. And now I want you to push against me, just with your hands, not with your body. Okay, perfect. And now put your hands down, and I want you to push against just with your hands. Okay. Okay, great. And now I'd like you to put your fingers out like that. Okay, great. And don't let me push your fingers together. Okay, wonderful. Okay, perfect. So you have good strength in your hands. Let me check your hand grasp strength. So go ahead and pull against my hands. Okay, perfect. Bilateral hand strength looks great. Okay, good. So I want to inspect your fingers now. Let's just make sure that each one of the joints are okay. And this is an important kind of inspection when we're doing things with patients that have arthritis. That we maybe need to inspect a little bit further. Any pain or tenderness in any of the joints of the fingers?
No.
Okay. All right, that looks great. Nail beds look good. You've got good capillary refill on your nail beds, so that's wonderful. Okay. And now what I'd like to do is go through the musculoskeletal inspection for your hips. So I'm going to look from behind and just inspect for symmetry of your hip bones, and I do see that your hip bones are symmetrical. Do you have any lower back problems? Any kind of, okay, it looks like you have a pretty healthy situation here with your hips being the same, right at the same height. A lot of times when people have those lower back problems, it's the hips are thrown off a little bit. So I'm going to palpate for tenderness, and then after that I'm going to have you lay on our little bench here. And we'll go through some different leg movements just to see how your hips are doing, okay?
All right.
So any tenderness in here throughout in the hip bones here?
No.
Right there in that iliac crest? Okay, great. All right, go ahead and lay on our little bench here. And I'm just gonna bring the screen back up. Okay, so now that I have you laying on my little bench, what I'd like, I'm going to get out of the light a little bit there. Okay, so what I want you to do is first take your right knee and pull it up to your chest. And go back down. Take your left knee and pull it up to your chest. Okay, perfect. I heard a little click in there too. Go ahead and lay on your side. Okay. And I want you to lift your legs straight up. Lift your top leg straight up in the air as high as you can. Okay, perfect. And now go ahead and lay on your other side and do the same thing with the other leg. Okay, great. All right, and now go ahead and lay on your back. I'm going to inspect your knees. Any problems with your knees? Any soreness or pain or tenderness in your knees?
Occasionally, but nothing serious.
One knee in particular, or both?
I can't remember.
Okay,
it's usually when I'm running or something like that.
Okay. Upon inspection, I can see that your knees are symmetrical. I don't see any swelling or anything greater in one or the other. So I'm just going to palpate the knees. I'm going to start up here because these muscles will affect the knees as well. We're just going to go all the way down around the knees. Any tenderness?
No.
In either one of these? Okay. Okay, great. Perfect. I'd like you to sit up on the edge of the bench like earlier, and I'm going to inspect your knees once again, only this time just while you're sitting. And we'll see here that we do definitely still have symmetry with your knees, and I'm just going to palpate once again. Let me know if you have any tender spots, any sore spots that kind of stick out to you?
Nope.
And when is it that you have trouble with your knees?
Well, usually if, say at work, I've got projects that are, I'm crawling around on the floor, putting things together, that type of thing.
Okay.
Or if I'm running, but usually if I stretch well enough, it's fine.
Okay, great. Do you wear a brace for either knee? Or?
I have in the past, but I haven't needed to recently.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. Okay, good. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is have you stand once again, and I'm going to check your knee flexion. I would like you to stand with your side to the bench, and go ahead and lift your foot off the ground and flex your knee all the way behind you. Perfect. And now the other one. Okay, great. And now we're going to hyperflex, so pull your leg out forward and push your knee. There we go. Perfect. Awesome. And the other leg. Okay, great. That's really great. You can really lift your legs a lot higher than I was expecting. Okay, I'm going to inspect your ankles and feet. So if you could have a seat once again. And I've been looking this entire time at your ankles and your feet, and everything does seem to be symmetrical and in the right place. I didn't notice any crepitus or anything like that. Do you have any issues with your ankles or your feet when running or walking?
I do. Sometimes my right foot bothers me because I have a bunion.
Okay, okay.
But other than that, it's,
okay.
Nothing serious.
Okay, good. What I'd like to do is see you walk just a few steps. So if you could start here and just walk for me right over to here, and I can just see how you do. Okay, great. And now turn around and walk away from me. Okay, now stay facing that direction and walk backward toward me. Okay, perfect. And now walk straight ahead, heel toe, like you're walking on a tightrope. And now say your ABCs backwards. I'm just kidding. Just threw that little joke in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. So you're doing really, really great with your gait and with your walking and everything like that. So that's really good. So I want to assess your feet and ankles a little bit further. So if you could go ahead and lay back down on my little bench here.
Okay.
And what I'd like to have you do, I'm going to go ahead and palpate your feet and ankles from top to bottom, just so I can see if I can feel any bumps or things out of place or anything like that. And you said you do have a bunion on your right foot, right? So
yes.
I'll be careful there. You have nice high arches here. Any pain or tenderness in your heel?
No.
Okay, good. And I'm just gonna, do you mind if I take your socks off to inspect a little further? Okay, good. Thank you for that. Each of your metatarsal bones seem to be in the right place. And I can see that little bit of a bunion right there on the right foot, and that does cause you a little bit of pain sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay. I can get these pulses here. Oh, wow, great pulses there. I got those right away. Wonderful. Okay, great circulation in your feet. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is pull your toes toward your nose so we can check that ankle flexion. And now if you could point your toes straight at me. Okay, now point your toes toward the ceiling, and I'd like you to turn your toes inward toward each other. Okay, great. And now outward. Okay, perfect. Okay, and now we're going to do some of those moves with resistance. So I'd like you to pull your toes toward your nose, but I'm going to resist. Perfect. Okay, and now I want you to push your feet toward me. Okay, great. Very aggressive feet. Okay, so that, you can go ahead. I will put your socks back on, and then I'll have you sit up. I'll get you back together here. I like to leave people in the same state as I found them. So here we are. Thank you. You're very welcome. Okay, you can go ahead and sit up. I thank you so much for allowing me to do this inspection on you today. That completes the musculoskeletal assessment as well as the cranial nerves assessment. Thank you.